How's it going, guys? 2 Foot Giant. For those of y'all that haven't been keeping up, or that have been keeping up and are a little let down, my major apologies for missing my last 2 shows. Got a lot of stuff going on in life right now, and I just couldn't make it. Last week, my entire computer was boxed up. I literally didn't have a way to do it. So, if y'all have been keeping up with me, y'all know I did a review on the Uwell CROWN tank, which has very, very easily become my favorite tank, hands down. I even said in my show, I'll never bother buying another Arctic. This thing can wick thick juice, make massive clouds, and it has absolutely no muting of flavor whatsoever. And of course, like I said on there, I got it from Mr. Charles that runs Buck's Giveaway Hideout. Um, got me the tank, and he got me the RBA head for it. So, comes in there. I mean, it's really simple. The things that come in the box: the coil itself, screwdriver, build, Japanese cotton, 2 spare screws, 2 spare O-rings, and a manual. And then it gives you the little specs of it in there. Now, first things first, the screwdriver is not blue. Anyway, let's get this out of here. Little, just simple. There's the labels coming out of there. I'm going to go ahead and drop this down. I'm sorry. Oh, the people that are used to seeing, let me hit a button, my screen's going to go down. I've only got one camera. Y'all know I don't like editing my videos. It's how I keep honest. Let's move this down so that you see what is going on here. So, in this, we've got the screwdriver coil. Let's knock this out of here. And we've got pad of cotton. And what looks like 2 builds, 4 extra O-rings, clear and black, and 2 builds. And then the manual itself, which is the back of the casing. 7 steps to making a coil. There are no words on this thing at all. It says RBA assembly steps, and that's it. So, I get the feeling that's not going to be too much help. So let's pop this out. And I'll use the little screwdriver. Saying this out, it's actually not blue. I love that. You get so used to seeing blue. I guess they felt the white was going to make them appear a little more royal. Get the label back in the box now. I did go ahead and cheat a little bit. Wanted to keep this a little shorter than everybody else will. So I've already wrapped out a coil. 24 gauge 10 wrap. So let's see here. The U logo, RBA head on it. It's got these slanted juice holes. There's all your little numbers you're supposed to have. And that's about it. Of course, you know, decently sized air hole down there. Now, what another part I liked about this is that it doesn't screw off. I mean, I immediately saw this and I was like, it looks like a really improved RBA head for like the subtank. It doesn't screw at all. It just pulls off. So I guess they did that. I like the way that they did that actually now that I see it. It's these little flat spots that are cut out that fit into each other, and those keep these juice holes lined up with the sides of the deck. That way, whenever you wick, they're automatically going to be in there. No spinning it on and hoping it lands right. So, little white screwdriver. I am not going to mess with this little stock coil. I honestly have no idea what it reads out to. I didn't even bother checking it first. But I'm not reviewing the stock build in the coil. I'm reviewing this part of it and how easy it is to vape on, how easy it is to build on, and how it all operates. So, the base of the tank itself, if life will go focus there. There we go. So, wow. This damn well sits down inside of the well of that tank. Very, very well. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be completely bottomed out. But those juice holes are way down there and where the well of the tank itself would be. They're way down in there. So let's not have everything fall over. So it already had it where the coil is below the deck. Not entirely sure if there would be room to do it above the deck like I'm used to in my subtank. So let's do it like it's used to having it done. So let's screw it a little more and fit that 24 gauge inside of there. So let's see. Pliers, because the coil actually started unraveling itself while I tried to feed it through that post. This post actually would be easy to work on if I'd let that out a little farther. Given how small these screws are, I always get a little paranoid when I'm messing with them, because I really don't want to lose that screw. It would be extremely small to find. So, let's see here. We're screwed on down there. I want to see how tight it will actually hold on to that. So I've taken with my sub tank to looping around the screwdriver itself and clipping the lead on the inside. And for some reason that seemed to make the connection a little bit better. Or started making this connection a little bit better. Trying to make sure the coil stays centered in there. And we're going going to tighten that second screw on down. And miss it entirely. Alright. Alright, so there's the little key part that was entirely unintentional, but could be educational nonetheless. The screw itself just came out on me. So there we go. That's the screw that we're working with here. You gotta love small screws in vaping. No open-end jokes needed there. Alright, we got it bite that time. Now I'm not going to try to kill them tight, just enough to know that they're in there. Any little tips and things that I find like that later, you know, if the coil needs to be really, really tight in between these screws, or, you know, if it ends up being easier to loop the lead all the way around, things like that, I'll update in the description if I come to a time where I notice they're needed. So, it's in at 30 watts. This is coming out to, it's jumping around a little bit, 0.6, high 0.5s. Why are we jumping around? So let's get her good and warmed up. Great big hot spot across the middle. Tweak that coil on down. There we go, that's looking good and pretty. Looking 0.73. Now strictly because I'm using, and this is the old IPv3. So, because of the fact that I've got so much power to play with, it doesn't bother me being 0.7. So let me pull this out. I'm not sure entirely what this cotton they sent with it is. I'm not going to use it. I was a man in brave Sephora, so I've got Shiseido cotton. These are, I mean, they look like every other sheet of cotton that you're going to see, with the exception, I don't see any parts of the seed husks or anything along that lines. I've never gotten any kind of new cotton taste when I've made any build with it. I love this cotton. For like 10 bucks, you get 160 sheets of it. You can't really beat it. Now, one thing I did notice off of that little instruction manual is it looks like they want you to wick it K-Fun style. So, basically wicking it, we're going to throw them up and fit the chamber itself down over it. No, there's no top end chamber or anything like that. It's just that one piece. So we'll get these on here. Dig this out. How are we going to get our top chamber fitted like it needs to? Find the little slots here. There we go. Alright. So, just like the K-Fun, I'm not going to crop it exactly with the top of the chimney. I'm going to give it a little bit of space above there. Clip off that cotton. Now with this, I can see it being a little more difficult than, say, the subtank. And guys, I'm sorry, I keep bringing up the subtank. Whenever they did the deck for the rebuildable on the subtank, that thing has just become the easiest tank deck to build on that I have messed with. So I have a tendency to keep going back to that as far as something to compare this to. Now, it's really pretty much of a pain in the ass to get in here to make sure that it's wicked correctly. You know, like the subtank of the K-Fun, you've got channels at the bottom of this head, and through that channel is how you guide on how to wick. This, I want the wick at this little window for the juice hole, but at the same time I don't want it too thick or too light. Now, I haven't built one of these like this before. My subtank mini one that I have, it's the one with the channels at the bottom. It's not the juice hole, you know, the side juice hole ones. So, let's just leave it as that. Now, for this, I'm going to be doing guar, the Gizmoglobin, the 3 milligram 50-50 blend. Had a buddy of mine that asked me to review the bottle, and this is just one of the ones that I'd never reviewed from him. It's a blueberry blend with basically nuts and custard. I'm not big on colors. Y'all have heard that before. This is straight up and down blue. So, let's see, prime that coil up a little bit and smell that blueberry right off the bat. I said it's kind of difficult to do when I don't really know how that wicking is going to work in there. Now let's go ahead and do this top side, since that's the whole purpose of a crowd. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and move the camera back north so that you can see me while we go ahead and fill this tank and vape on it. So, see about zooming out there a little bit. There we go. So let's get this tank filled up. Oh no, I do flavored juices, and for some reason I'm a sci-fi dude. Having a blue liquid inside my tank just makes me feel dirty. Now, I don't mind reviewing this juice on this tank, and I probably should have done it before I used the RBA, using their normal coil, because that normal coil doesn't have any lack of flavor whatsoever. Alright, so 0.72 RBA head and the Uwell CROWN. Let's see. 0.72. Everything's coming up pretty hot. So I'm going to pay attention to volts. I'm going to knock this down to 4.2 volts, like you would if you were, on a mech mod. Comes up to 24.9 watts on the 0.71. It's not bad. I get nutty, like right off the bat, nutty. Not too much blueberry. The nuts come out more than anything on this. Let's pump it up a little bit. Go up to 30 watts. Puts it at 4.6 volts. Still a lot of nuts. I'm getting what seems like a darker blueberry on the inhale. Keep trying to pull on it. I'm paranoid that I wicked it wrong, or I might have not wicked it enough. But I'm not getting a dry hit. Seems to be wicking nice enough. Let's see. Okay. 75.5 watts was just entirely too hot for that coil. Let's sit here at just flat 65. A little more of the custard's coming out. And taste it's more the creaminess part. All in all, not bad. The coil's holding up pretty nicely. I mean, I'm not getting any not getting any heavy leaking out of the airflow or anything like that. I only got that dry hit once, but I'm not really trying to just ramp on it. Let's see how that does. I'm going to go ahead and kick the airflow down to half, just to make sure that I'm wicking it, priming it while I'm wicking it here. It is .71 coil, 65 watts. It is pretty hot right there. And of course, I mean, your build's going to differ up from mine. I just kind of slapped that coil together. I really didn't even think about it of what it was going to come out to. Probably would have built it a little lower. I think I might use 28 next time just to see what it'll do. But honestly, the RBA head for it is definitely doing its job. So, I mean, if we're just going to go back to the coil, the RBA deck itself, I mean, the presentation is nice. I like, everybody uses these clear plastic boxes, but I like the way that they did it. It was nice. It's efficient. It comes with everything that you could possibly need in it. The extra O-rings, the extra screws. A lot of companies, they don't send the extra screws. They don't send the extra O-rings. I don't think I got any with the tank, but I got them with this head. All in all, guys, if you do get the Crown tank, which I will swear up and down by, go out and get the tank at the very least. If you are a rebuilder, you do like customizing your tanks, pick up the RBA head. Definitely pick up the RBA head, because I love the design where they're starting to make the screws recessed in the deck instead of just floating on top. The way that the original K-Funds were, they were a pain in the ass to hold the coil while you tried to screw it down. With these recessed screws like this, it makes it so much easier. But yeah, so I mean, there's your little first look at the Gizmoglobin by Mount Baker. I'll do a full review on a rebuildable deck on that a little later. I just wanted to start getting a taste for it. But the deck, if you're a rebuilder, go ahead and pick up the deck for it. I mean, if you're like me, you're not going to be able to say no to a rebuildable deck for a tank. But definitely holds up to par with the coils that come in it. So definitely go ahead and pick up the RBA head for it as well. They're not much. I've seen them between like $6.50 and $10, $15 for the head. It's the RBA kit. Definitely go ahead and pick them up. Preferably go ahead and do it at the same time you get the Crown tank. Make sure you try the tank coils first, though. I still absolutely love the stock coils for this tank, and I'll probably still use them. But it's nice to know that now I can rebuild my own coil with this, so I can start doing temperature control with my nickel coils. So, alright guys, that's going to be the review tonight for the RBA for the Crown. Y'all go ahead, have a good night, pick them up, man.